Welcome back, everyone. Staring from a Staring Gaming today. We're running the Blackwing Descent. This is a raid back in the Cataclysm expansion. Involves Nefarian the Black Dragonflight resurrecting his sister, and you're having to fight them to stop them from their evil plans with their father Deathwing. Let's get started.
Mortals that fancy themselves heroes have entered the Broken Hall. Oh, I do hope this raid will amuse me more than the last.
This raid's location is actually at the end of Blackwing Lair. To access this one, you actually have to fly up Black Rock Mountain to get to. Now, as you see, here's our first boss, Magmal. There's two bosses, one on the left and the one on the right when you come in. Defeating both will open up the gates. Now here on Magmal, he has a normal magma spit. He'll shoot at 3 random players, but since we're on Heroic, he would target 8. Pillow of Fire, basically he erupts magma from beneath the player's feet. And then Lava Parasites that burrow in the players when they attack, affecting a new host, which causes parasitic infection. Destroying the parasite is your best option to keep it from going into new people. Lava Spew, he just basically spews lava to everyone, dealing damage every 2 seconds for 6. A Molten Tantrum, if he can't reach anyone from melee range, he just starts attacking everyone, increasing the fire damage they take, and it does stack. Now Mango is something the tanks have to watch about. He'll basically grab the tank and start doing some major damage to him. You have to impale him on the spike here to stop it. Basically, he also has, while he's being mangled, the tank's armor will be reduced by 50 for a minute and a half. Now, Massive Crutch, he'll slam his entire body on half of the room, inflicting damage and stunning people, whoever on the side that gets hit. But it also stuns the boss, allowing 2 players to jump up top of him to do what they need to do, as it's called Lava Ward Wrangling. You need those 2 players to impale Magmal onto the spike. Now, since it's on Heroic, Nefarious here is going to be assisting in the fight. He'll cause a blazing inferno, which causes down a meteor bone fire, inflicting fire damage to a random player, more or less. When the meteor hits, it causes a blaze bone construct to be spawned. Now these guys got a fiery slash and Armageddon when it hits 20% health. You need to destroy it ASAP before it explodes, or the whole party will take damage. As for Shadow Breath, when Magmal hits 30%, Nefarious will just start randomly attacking. He launches volleys of Shadow Flame at random players, which inflict damage to all players within the radius of the one he targets. Now we're going to buff, shield, read a little bit of a book on this guy, and then use my spark on him. There's Nefarious. As you can see, he's coming in to do his thing.
I found this fascinating specimen in the lava underneath this very lava world. Magma should provide an adequate challenge. You were set that. Disappointing. I could have easily won.
Not bad gear, run. Now we head up to this next boss, which is the Omnitron defense system. It's 4 golems with each type of damage. Fire, nature. 2 nature, I guess, because poison and electric would be said nature. Actually, an arcane, okay. Get these guys out of the way. Now, you see it. Electron is the one up. He has an lightning conductor, which designates a random player as the lightning conductor, which causes them to inflict nature damage to allies within distance. Electrical discharge is he inflicts nature damage up to 3 targets in 8 yards. And the damage increases as it jumps to each target. It also has an unstable shield, which causes static shock at a nearby player, inflicting massive nature damage. Shadow Effusion, this is when Nefarious comes in to corrupt the lightning conductor, transforming the target into a shadow conductor. It causes shadow damage to all nearby allies. And if further the person's away from the shadow conductor, greater damage they'll take. So basically, if you become the shadow conductor, everyone has to be near you, or they're going to die from being too far away. Now that was Electron. Now let's go to Arcanotron. Power generator. He just summons a random generator underneath a random player. Increases the damage to deal by 50% and restores mana. So you want your casters and healers to be around that. Arcane Annihilation, or Arcane Annihilator. He blasts a random person for arcane damage. On Heroic, he hits 3 random players. Power Conversion. He converts his shield damage taken into converted power, which boosts his magic damage speed, since damage done grants him a 10% additional arcane damage and spell haste for 30 seconds, and it will stack, which is dispellable since it's a magic effect. Now, Nefarious will also interrupt on this guy, converting his power generator into an overcharge generator. This will actually increase the damage by 100% and restore mana. But the downside is this thing will grow in size till it explodes, causing a blowback. And on Heroic, it's very deadly. It basically could wipe a party back then. Now, Magmatron, he strikes everyone in the room with fire damage every second for 4 seconds. Acquiring target, he targets a random player and then uses his flamethrower ability on them. He inflicts flame damage to all players in front of him. Now, on Heroic, Nefarious causes a shadow to bind the feet of the acquired target. Basically, you're not going to move while you're being targeted, and you will take the full blunt of the flamethrower, so healers need to be aware. Now, Magmatron has a shield barrier that absorbs a lot of damage. Basically, if you break it, it inflicts fire damage to all players. Now, on the Toxitron, he has a chemical bomb that he'll target a random player, creating a chemical cloud. This chemical cloud increases the damage taken by any unit within the cloud by 50. Also on her here, the cloud inflicts damage over time. The poison protocol creates a poison bomb every 1.5 seconds. Each bomb is a fixation on a random player. If it gets them in the melee range of the target, it goes boom. And when it does, it leaves behind a poison puddle. So don't want to stand in that, obviously. The poison-soaked shell, if dealing damage to his shield, inflicts soaked poison on players, which is a poison that can be dispelled. It does stack, but if you dispel it, it removes all stacks of the poison. But when a player attacks or uses the spell, they expunge the poison onto the target. So basically, if you have it and you're attacking one of the golems here, it'll go onto them. Now, Heroic, he has an ability that Nefarious gives us called Grip of Death. He'll sometimes teleport to the center of a chemical cloud and cause Grip of Death, which basically pulls everyone into the cloud, causing them to have to take the poison cloud damage and run out. Now let's get going and take these guys down.
Electron unit activated.
The Omnitron
Defense systems obliterated. Powering down.
I was hoping he would actually talk more, but as you can see, As you see, I took out one, it took the rest out. Now with that done, the gates here will be open. To the north, east, and west, when you hit down, there will be a boss you have to take out in order to initiate the last boss fight against Nefarious. Now, as you see, there's an elevator upcoming here. A lot of people will just jump off it, like so. Luckily for me, I can do that since I'm on a mage. Now we're actually going to head to the west boss here, after we take down the dragon here, Pyclaw. And we are going to get up against Chimeratron. Now this mob here, this boss, if you're a Beastmaster Hunter, you can actually tame this guy, since Beastmasters are able to tame exotic pets. Now Finkel Einhorn is trapped in the cage there. If you're a skinner, you have a small chance to skin the key off this guy, then let him out. But during the fight, he'll have a Biotron to basically throw Fink's Mixture on you to prevent players' health from dropping to 1 health as long as they're above 10. Now this is a 2-stage fight. During phase 1, he'll cast Caustic Slime. On Heroic, he lobs 5 at random players, but on Normal, he'll only launch 2. Massacre is something the healers need to be aware of. He's going to hit all players for massive damage, killing anyone who's not under the effects of Fincher's Mixture. And basically, when that happens, sometimes the Biotron will be knocked out. Feud is when he ever knocks out the Biotrons, 2 heads be arguing with each other, preventing any damage coming from Chimeratron. On Heroic, Nefarious orders like that Chimeratron to stop bickering only after 2 seconds. So on Heroic, you gotta be fully aware, because 2 seconds against 30 means a lot. On Break here, for the tanks, they'll viciously attack through the target's defense, increasing the physical damage they take and reducing their healing for a minute. So you need to know when to taunt. Also, the healers and tanks need to be worried about when Chimeratron strikes twice, since he has 2 heads and a claw. When he hits stage 2 at 20%, he goes into a rage. He's immune to taunts, and he'll greatly decrease the healing if done by players. As you see, a healer here for Mortality, when he goes in rage. In addition, he reduces all healing effects on the targets by 99%. That's bad. It's basically a DPS race then. Tanks need to pop all their cooldowns, and every cooldown. And he'll still do his double attacks, but on Heroic here, Nefarious shows up, inflicting shadow damage to all players. This basically at 20% on Heroic, this guy was a DPS race. You had to burn him down.
Ah, Chimeron. Truly a living testament to my scientific prowess. This fight has gotten my reworked and twisted his form countless times over the years. And the final result is to lose that excitement.
Great job, guys! The key should be in his gut somewhere. Just, fish around in there until you find it.
It's locked.
Yeah, you have to be a Skinner, and even getting the key is a very low chance. And I don't think you get much for actually freeing Finkel there, just other than a thank you. Now we're going to move on to Archimedes here. Archimedes is actually a failed experiment that got blinded. He hunts down by using sound, and you'll have a sound meter, and you don't want it to 100, because if he does get it to 100 on you, you die instantly. In the room, there will be dwarven seals. And on Heroic, once one is destroyed by Archimedes here, Nefarious destroys an additional one. So you have to be wise on Heroic. when you use them. Because of that, the shield will resonate. He'll switch his target to the shield. When he does that, he gets put in a state of vertigo, which increases his damage taken by 50 for 5 seconds. Archimedes here does begin his fight on the ground, though. We're going to go through this before we kill them so you can see there's a cutscene as well. He'll use Sonic's Pulse, which he'll send out discs of sonic energy. Anyone hit by that takes 7 sound. And remember, you can only, if you get to 100 sound, you die instantaneously. Heroic Sonic Pulse also does arcane damage. Modulation here, he'll inflict shadow damage. And if you have higher sound levels, you take even more damage. Now, Sonic Breath, he'll track a random player breathing fire towards the player. You just basically need to move out of the way. He'll channel and fill the room with flames, inflicting fire damage every 2 seconds, increasing the fire damage you take by 50 for 6. And actually, if you have every 2% of sound you have, increases the damage. You'll have to do the resonating crash here by hitting the shield to stop that. But also, the flames leave patches of fire behind. If you get into Roar of Flames, you take fire damage and get additional 5% sound. Now, Devastation is deadly. Basically, if all players with 100 sound, you get damage tick on you every 0.5 seconds. There's no way you'll survive that. Now, he has airborne abilities too. His Roar of Flame Breath, it's the same as well, just hit the shield to interrupt it. Sonar Bomb, he'll launch little sonar bombs at random players. If they hit you, if you're within distance of the crash, your sound increases by 30%. You don't want that. Now, Nefarious does show up in this fight as well. He'll randomly open portals, allowing noxious fiends to interfere. Basically, they'll jump on random players, try to increase their sound levels. You need to kill those suckers ASAP, and I mean ASAP. Now we're going to take these guys out, which will start the next little phase here where you'll see a little scene.
Ah, Maloriak. How gracious of you to finally appear from that quarantine you call a laboratory. What have you got this time?
My sincerest apologies for the disturbance, my liege. But I believe I have something you may be very interested in.
By all means, enlighten me.
Yes, yes! By extracting agents from the blood of various dragonflights, I have created a salve that will bestow the wearer sight beyond sight! Senses beyond this realm of mortality! Archimedes, your master beckons! I present to you experiment number 25463-D!
Poor little whelp.
It appears as though your experiment has failed. That whelp has gone completely blind. Look at him. Look at him!
How could this be? I will dispose of him immediately!
No, not yet. This object of your chagrin may still prove valuable to me. Leave now, pathetic alchemist. I anxiously await your next failure.
Yes, my lord!
That shows you how the boss came to be. To start this fight, you hate the ancient bell, and here he comes. He basically melts the bell.
This miserable existence finally ends.
And he's happy because you killed him. It ended his suffering. Now we're gonna head to the crazed alchemist, Morlock, or however you say it. He has 2 stages. Periodically, he throws vials into the cauldron behind him, causing effects. For his abilities, he has Arcane Storm, which inflicts arcane damage to all players for 6 seconds. Remedy, he'll heal himself and generate mana. And he'll increase the healing he gets per second. You need to stop that. The red vial he throws into his cauldron gives him flaming breath, and it lasts for 40 seconds. Consuming flames will ignite a random player in flames, taking fire damage per second for 10 seconds. If you take magic damage while ignited, it increases the damage by 50%. Scorching Blast, when he breathes fire, inflicting fire damage divided by all targets within front of him within a 70-degree cone. During the fight, he will release aberrations from his chamber. I know there's an achievement linked here where I believe you take him out while the aberrations are up or not. I'm not sure. I would have to look it up again. But I know I got it already. Now, when he throws his blue vial in the cauldron, he gets his freezing magic, ice magic, frost, whatever. He'll randomly target a random player with a ring of frost, inflicting frost damage into him and anyone within the ring for 10 seconds. Frost flees. Basically, at a random player, the ground becomes freezing cold, inflicting frost damage to all players within the target and casing them in solid ice for 30 seconds. When the ice does get broken, the targets are released, but the ice inflicts damage to those who break it. But you'll break all ice in the area. As that phase, he still releases aberrations. When he grows his green vial in, he'll gain nature damage abilities. Slime will come out of the cauldron, coating every unit in the room. It'll increase damage taken by 100 and temporarily suppress the growth catalyst. Now, Nefarious will throw some dark magic in the cauldron, causing the vile swirl to spew from the cauldron. Effects of dark magic last for a minute and a half, which also grants the boss immunity to taunt. So the tanks need to make sure they have high enough aggro, because they won't be able to taunt. Now, he'll breathe in a 20-degree cone in front of him, engulfing darkness, inflicting shadow damage and reducing the healing by 100% to players. So basically, the tanks might, if they get hit by it, they're going to have to switch off ASAP. Now, Vile Swirl costs 5 of them to show up. The slimes will cast Dark Sludge on a random player until they are slain. Basically, you're going to take shadow damage every half second to all players unless those things are killed fast. Now, on stage 2, he releases all aberrations that have not been killed into prime subjects from the growth chambers. You'll have to deal with magma jets where lava's coming up from the ground in front of him. Absolute Zero summons a spear, a frozen spear of energy near a random player. If it contacts any player, it explodes. Acid Nova, he'll inflict damage to all players for 10 seconds. The prime subject is a Draconoid with enhanced abilities. The Growth Catalyst increases their damage of other prime subjects by 20 and reduces the damage they take. It will also affect Morlock here in the aberration, so you gotta kill them if they show up.
There can be no disruptions. Mustn't keep the master waiting. Mustn't fail again.
Maloriac, try not
Too
to
early.
lose to these
No
mortals.
choice. They must
Semi-competent
be
is
tested.
so
There
hard
will never be another like me.
Now you get a unique title for a little bit for this one.
Congratulations! Allow me to grant you a title befitting the amazing achievement you just performed. Henceforth, you shall be known as the Slayer of Stupid.
The stupid Slayer of stupid, incompetent, and disappointing minions. You get that achievement when you kill this guy. Well, not achievement, I mean a title. But it's only for 30 minutes. Now, the next boss fight actually starts here. But you have to click on the orb of accumulation to start it. Before we do that, Nefarian's End. Healers need to be aware throughout the fight he'll electrocute the raid each time he loses 10% of his health. Basically, all players will take damage every time you take off 10%. Now here, stage 1 is Rise Sister. He'll show that Onyxia's dead body there. And he will raise her back up. Nefarian will cast Hail of Bones. During that, he'll actually summon up Nefarian will summon up Bone Warriors. Also, he has Shadow Flame Breath, which will inflict Shadow Flame damage in a 60-degree cone. And it will recharge energy of any of the Bone Warriors within the breath's area. So you want to keep them out of that. He'll whip his tail behind people. It's a simple rule. You don't stand behind a dragon. You're always going to get hit by the tail. Now on Heroic, the minion, he will dominate a random player's mind and take control for 20 seconds. They'll walk towards a portal that appears. Basically, if that person reaches the portal, it kills them. During that time, the mind-controlled player can absorb a little bit of the immense power and use it to get stolen power. Basically, it gives you a buff to stack, decreasing your damage and healing. The dominated player needs to focus their will to bring the domination over them. While that's going on, it increases your movement speed by 120 for 10 seconds. Now for Onyxia, she has electrical energy. She gains energy over time, and more when Nefarian catches his electrocute. If Onyxia reaches full energy, she goes boom and kills everyone. Now during the fight, she has lightning discharge, which will discharge electricity from orbs alongside her sides, inflicting nature damage to all targets. As usual, she has Shadow Flame Breath like Nefarian, and Tail Lash, which you don't stand behind. Now stage 2 comes up when you kill Onyxia. Nefarian will take to the air, and you need to jump onto one of the 3 rings you see down there, or you'll be swimming in lava. On each of the platforms will be a chromatic prototype that you'll need to kill. Make sure you interrupt the blast Nova they're carrying. While in the air, Nefarian is going to use his Shadow Flame barrage at random players. On Heroic, he has an explosive cinder. While flying, he occasionally targets random players with a explosive finger, coating them in explosive residue, causing them to take fire damage every 2 seconds. Basically, after 8 seconds, you explode, inflicting fire damage to your party. Then hit stage 3, basically you will simply not die, after players kill the chromatic prototypes, which honestly is the easiest part of this fight. Nefarian will land and finish battle. As usual, he'll have his flame breath, his shadow flame breath, his tail lash, but this time he'll have a shadow blaze spark. He'll create a shadowy blaze at a nearby location that spreads quickly, inflicting shadow damage to all players within any distance of it, and reanimating any of his bone warriors. Now these guys will then have empowering strikes, which means they'll grow more powerful over time. So you want to try to make sure you keep your eye on them and kill them. And we're going to start now.
The heroes have made it to the glorious finale. I take it you are in good spirits, prepared for the final battle. Then gaze now upon my ultimate creation. Rise, sister. Behold the broodmother, Onyxia, reborn. Perhaps my finest work. My dearest sibling, do you see how the shadow flame animates their bones? They fight at my command.
And here's the Bone Warriors.
Curse you, mortal. Such callous disregard for one's possession. Defeat has
Yeah, I'm
never
not gonna
tasted
get the
so
phase 2,
bitter.
sorry. Well, as you can see, I apparently got disconnected, but pretty much that was Blackwing Descent, guys. Sorry about getting knocked off. Apparently, sometimes that happens to people, but this is Stereo from Mysteria Gaming, asking you to please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot in the long run. Also, to go check out my Twitch and follow me there. Right now, my goal is to get YouTube partner and Twitch affiliate so we can get funds in to better my channels up by getting new gear, webcam. I'm aiming for to get a capture device so we can start recording some more game videos on here. But till then, I'll see you guys in the next video.